And welcome back. My name is Nikolena Samac, and I am here to bring you the second part of our WJCU halftime show before we kick off at DePauw at 1 o'clock. I am joined here with defensive lineman and senior Tommy Wasinski. Tommy, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so we are super excited to have you here today against one of the biggest and probably most important games of the season. So we're going to kick it off with a couple of questions to give our listeners a view into what you're like on and off the field. So you are a theology major and you're also competing at a high level in football. How has your major and your life shaped you into your approach of being a student athlete?
It's a great question. In theology, I went to private school, Catholic school, my whole life, so religion and theology has always been a critical role in my life along with football. Ever since I was in kindergarten, was learning about God, and that's when I started playing football. So I've kind of been steadily learning more and more about the two together my whole life, and those are my two biggest interests. Through football, I've been able to kind of find God in all things that I do and just find my purpose. And that, my calling has kind of been to teach theology and coach football because it's done so much for me and it's shaped who I am and my character. So, as I go throughout my career in both, in the classroom and on the field, I am very attentive to how I can, influence the generation beneath me once I get, older.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I know you did graduate from St. Ignatius High School, which is one of the prominent Catholic private schools in the area of Cleveland. And obviously coming to John Carroll, I know there's a big pipeline from there, and it could not be like a more perfect place to blend those two things. Mm-hmm. So we have interviewed a lot of upperclassmen, but you're actually one of the only upperclassmen we're interviewing that has had a lot of experience in the OAC. So what has it been like to transition to a new conference in the NCAC? And, is there any difference in how you've been preparing for games this season?
In terms of preparation, I wouldn't say there's much of a difference. When we prepare, we're competing with ourselves. It's always about ourselves and just trying to be better than we were the day before, the game before, because we know our standard. We practice at a high level, and we push ourselves to, incomprehensible limits despite the opponent. But in terms of the OAC compared to the NCAC, there's definitely some similarities and differences. I think it's been a smooth transition to a new conference. We've definitely, been doing well so far. We hope to continue to, make John Carroll proud and how we represent and continue to win.
Yeah, so in the 2024 season, you recorded 27 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. How did you assess that season, and was there anything that you wanted to focus on improving going into your senior year?
I'd say I, did well last season. Could have been better, could have been worse, but at the end of the day, when you look at it, I'm not much of a stats guy. I'm more so focused on doing my job, and whatever the stats are, that is what it is. Especially as a defensive lineman, I try not to get too caught up in that. A lot of the times, I'm getting double teamed, and just making sure I'm doing my job, making offenses pay attention to me, being a threat to them. Last year I was playing more so D tackle, whereas now I'm playing more nose. So it was a little bit more on the outside, whereas now I'm more on the inside, which can be tougher for me to get pressure on the quarterback. More so focused on condensing the pocket and, keeping my rush lane integrity, making sure the quarterback doesn't scramble out. So I'm a little bit more conservative in my pass rushing. That's been a big change for me this year. But still just doing my job, and the stats come with it.
Yeah, we've had multiple football players now talking about what it means to do their 1/11th on the field. I know Owen Schukert talked about that, Shane Lindstrom talked about that, and I really liked that message, and I really thought it was an interesting perspective to think about just doing your part on the field. So you were also named a captain for this 2025 season. How do you perceive that role, and what did it mean to you personally to be named to that squad?
It meant a lot to me. It's a huge honor. I'm very glad that my team, my coaches felt that I was worthy of being named a captain. I take that role with a lot of pride in leading this team. I take responsibility in making sure that I'm doing everything I can to lead the team the right way on and off the field. As an example in everything I do. And just being accountable for myself and my teammates. When I see something that's wrong, you gotta call it out. And when you see something done the right way, you gotta also recognize it and know what's right from wrong. And when we're all on the same page, it helps us all, do our 1/11th the right way.
Yeah, so are there any other, leadership traits that people in your lives, whether past captains, family, friends, or even professional athletes have emulated that you're really trying to take a hold of in your role as a captain?
I'd say for sure. I've been around football a long time. I think it's my 17th year playing football. I've had a lot of leaders, I've had a lot of coaches that have influenced my idea of what a leader is and what a leader should be. And the best way that I perceive what a leader is someone whose words align with their actions, someone who you can count on, and someone who does what they say they're going to do and practices what they preach. And I can go down a long list of past teammates and past captains that I've had, but they've all influenced who I am now.
Yeah, and this year's defensive line, it is visibly heavier on the upperclassmen. I believe it's 7 of 8 of the starters are junior year and above. What are you guys doing, and especially you in your leadership role, doing to help that secondary line of maybe younger athletes grow into their roles?
Yeah, a lot of it is in our meetings, in film, and when we do our individual drills. We only have one D-line coach, so maybe he's not going to see every little critique right away. So it's on us to kind of call out what we see as well, because we made the same mistakes growing up. When I watched the younger guys, I remember being in their shoes, making the same mistakes, and the quicker we can address it, it doesn't, you don't got to be rude about it, but just in a polite way, just knowing that we care for them and that we want to see them reach their full potential, just like, we had the same process. So it's making sure that they don't make the same mistakes twice by, calling it out and helping them improve each and every day.
Yeah, definitely. And so in your view, what would you say are some of the strengths of the John Carroll defense in this year? And also, what are some rooms for improvement that you're seeing?
Yeah. I would say the biggest strengths we have is our selflessness. I think we're very focused on doing our 1/11th, and I think as a defense as a whole, we have that mentality as we're not too focused on our own stats. We're focused on winning. Winning is the biggest stat that we're focused on, and I think that helps us be a good defense. In terms of improving, I think complacency is sometimes that we just always gotta refresh ourselves that, like, no matter how good of a game we play, no matter how good of a practice we have, it's about coming back the next day and just doing even better. It's never getting complacent with one good performance or one after the other. There's always one ahead of us that we gotta get ready for and prove to ourselves and prove to the country again who we are and what we can do.
Absolutely. And so in your spotlight with John Carroll's Gridiron Club, you mentioned that one of your pieces of advice to freshmen is to do the hard things. What does that mean to you now as you enter into your senior year?
Yeah, I'd say doing the hard things made me the person I am today. You know, I think back to the off season in the cold winter, in the early spring, waking up at 5 a.m. every single day and going out on the field that's covered in ice, you know, with the guys having to run, bear crawl, and nobody wants to do that. But that's what it takes to be great. And when we're all in it together and we're doing the hard things, that just makes us so much stronger as a team and as individuals. Because I could never do that stuff on my own. It's the accountability that, you know, I have. I don't want to let my teammates down. I know that I got to be there, and they count on me to be there and to do my job and to bring the energy. And, you know, if they see me and they're like, oh, Tommy can do it, then we can do it. And so we're all in this together and we're all pushing each other.
Yeah, I did interviews in this year's WJCU Fall Sports Preview Show where we go and we interview athletes from every single fall sport offered at John Carroll. And, you know, from doing football, volleyball, who are objectively more team sports, but then also checking out golf and cross country, which you'd see as individual. One thing I learned is that all sports are team sports, whether or not you're contributing to a group score or just, you know, like in cross country, pushing that person to run faster. You know, it's a inner competition between teams, and I saw, like, that was definitely enlightening for me of no sports are individual sports,
Right.
even if technically your score is just for you. So, you know, like we've said many times, it is your senior year. What legacy are you kind of hoping to leave on the program this season?
I'm hoping to leave a legacy of enthusiasm towards the game of football. The attitude that, you know, this isn't something that we have to do. This is something that we get to do. Playing football for John Carroll is a great honor. And, you know, coming out to practice every day, even when you're tired, even when you're sore, you know, just always reminding myself that I'm not going to be able to do this forever, and I got to make the most of it. And, you know, I think that feeling towards the game is contagious. So when guys see me treat it like that, it kind of is a domino effect to everyone else. It's like we got to enjoy every moment of this. We got so many special opportunities, and we got to make the most of it. So I'm hoping to leave a legacy of enthusiasm and just love for the game of football.
So, you know, following this year, do you have any plans for your next steps, whether it be coaching, theology, or you've kind of alluded to maybe a combination of both?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely teaching and coaching is what I have my eyes set on in the future. I'm in pursuit of my master's in theology, so that will probably entail me staying for another semester, another year, where I would hope to be a grad assistant on the football team and help coach, because it's my last year of eligibility. So, yeah, that would probably be where my next step is.
That'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
I think, you know, being able to stay around the team and, like, again, also being able to shape that next generation of, you know, who's going to step in and fill your role, fill in the role of the person who might be filling your role, and, you know,
Right.
irregardless, like, still being able to play a role in the team, I think would be amazing.
For sure.
And pursuing your master's, congratulations. That's very,
Thank you.
very exciting
Thank
and
you,
awesome
yeah.
for your future.
Appreciate
So, you know, we've been asking a lot of questions about, you know, what it's like for you on the field, you know, your leadership abilities, but we also want to give the viewers a peek into what your personality is kind of like. So we have 3 kind of fun questions to go, you know, a little bit more into who is Tommy Wasinski. So the first one is, outside of football, what sport do you think or wish that you could go pro in?
It has to be basketball. It's actually a funny story. When I was little, I was in 4th grade, and I told my parents I was gonna quit football to focus on basketball, and they laughed in my face and said, "No way." I don't have the build for basketball, but that's always been my second favorite sport. I grew up playing it, watching the NBA, playing 2K. Yeah, even when I'm done playing football, I'm gonna be playing pickup basketball for the rest of my life. And yeah, big Cavs fan too. Go Cavs.
Oh yeah, I saw those jerseys they put out.
Yeah,
They're amazing.
for sure.
And I definitely want to get to a game this year at
me
some
too.
point.
Yeah.
So, second question, at any level, what team would you say has your favorite jerseys in football?
I've always loved the Raiders, just the black and white, solid. I think it's just not too flashy. It's got grit to it. And like jersey I got, a Marshawn Lynch Raiders jersey. That's my favorite jersey I wear. So, yeah, I think I identify with that grit mentality.
And then the final fun question, who on the team has your favorite celebration, and can you describe it for the listeners? And congratulations, you were actually named as one of these in a previous interview.
Oh, wow. Favorite celebration, you know. I will say Nemo Jenkins. He's got a lot of good celebrations. I also think he's probably one of the best dancers on the team. It's either him or Ty Montgomery. So when they combine on dances, that really gets me fired up because they both know what they're doing. But yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to Nemo Jenkins. He's jiggy with it.
I can't imagine what that duo celebration is like in the end zone. I bet it's absolutely amazing. Me and all the rest of the broadcasters, we love looking down and seeing what's going on when we're not talking and focusing on the game. It's one of our favorite parts.
Sweet.
That does wrap up the final question for the interview. Thank you so much, Tommy, for joining us today. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a great time.
And listeners, that wraps up the interview, but stay tuned because after a short break, myself and Owen Close are going to be kicking off the broadcast down in Greencastle, Indiana for the DePauw versus John Carroll matchup. Big game for the title of the season. So stay tuned on your radio home for Blue Streak Athletics, WJCU 88.7.